Hey, Robert Kress here with your weekly update for being a member of the LongevityLeague.com, and thank you for that. A lot of new things happening. We'll be getting in touch more often now. We've got a whole new website that's being developed, so we'll have a whole new platform, a better membership platform. I'm kind of giving you a generic code right now, and I will be changing it. And I'll let you know by email, but we're going to have something more efficient. But what I put together was something that I want to get out there really quick, get all my old archives out there, and kind of set stuff for the path that's running. So this week, a lot of stuff happening, as always, within the news. A couple things that came out were things on junk food that I don't know if you caught in the news or not. But a couple big things. One, that junk food can be addicting as heroin. What they found, researchers actually in, I think it was in London, they actually found that junk food can actually reprogram the brain. So the more you eat, you get a reprogramming sense, and what it does is it reprograms it to crave more unhealthy fatty foods, and I mean bad fats, salty foods, and sugary foods. So it's kind of like laying new lines in the brain matter, basically, on what the body's looking for. And obviously there's a habitual element here, because there's a habitual element in all addictions as well. So one thing to look at. Next thing is depression. Another study came out. This was definitely in the University College of London. They had about 3,500 participants in this one. And they basically found people with the highest consumption of processed foods, 5 years later, they were 58% more likely to be depressed, actually, and have depression. Now, in this case, I think you have to wonder, obviously there's another emotional element involved, right? And you got to wonder, where's the chicken and where's the egg? Was maybe the depression there, and the depression got them eating the comfort foods, and then the vicious cycle started at hand, the vicious cycle that shows that it can actually be very addicting. So, you've got an issue in life that you're not dealing with on an emotional level. You start to comfort up with some bad foods, and then it's like that snowball effect, and it gets worse to the point where it's almost an addicting habit. So, very interesting on, for us to be cautious on what we eat, especially we just rounded the corner from Halloween coming up to the holidays and things such as that. Holidays a time for lots of junk food around, as well as, kind of emotional element of times as well. Next thing was a pretty interesting study. You've heard so many different things over the years. How should people react to a stressful situation? Should they bottle it up? Should they blow it off? What should they do? Well, Carnegie Mellon University outside Pittsburgh, they found that people who responded to high-stress situations with some kind of righteous anger management, something that they did. They went out, they blew off their steam, and this is not just they went for a walk or they meditated. I mean, these people let it rip, right? They found that these people actually maintained a lower blood pressure, and they also secreted less cortisol, which is very interesting, than people who actually kept things bottled up. So if you think about it, look at the cortisol issue that we deal with all the time. I was talking to a pharmacist the other day, and they had a patient who was having blood pressure burst throughout the nighttime, and they couldn't figure it out. All they were in cortisol on it. So I said, you're going to find a lot more if you do throughout the day cortisol test, through saliva test to find out what's going on, because I'm willing to bet we've got a stress response and we're having these cortisol surges, which is causing these blood pressure surges late at night for this individual. Recommended some nutrients, and in a couple nights the individual started doing better. So I just heard back from that pharmacist, so I thought that was really cool. So now in that case, it just shows that we've got to find ways to deal with our stress. Stress, we still know we don't want to be in a stressful situation, but it is an important part of growth when it can be managed properly. Obviously, if we're starting to have stress reactions, blood pressure reactions, we're not managing it correctly, and we need to. So that was very important, I thought. Lastly, what I want to talk about, this is kind of big news for today, and I've been looking, I haven't heard anything, but it's about this healthcare bill. And, I'm not sitting here to stand on any side of any party or anything like that, but I've gotten this question a lot. What do I think about it? Now, at the risk of offending people who might be starkly in support of it, I don't think this is a good thing. I do feel we need health reform. I probably sound a little bit like a talking head right now, but I do feel we need health reform. I think we need health reform more in the way of how people treat themselves, as well as how we treat people. And obviously, the payer system, there's some issues. There's no getting around it. Pharmaceuticals are ridiculously expensive. There's a lot of issues that need to be looked at. So keeping in mind our capitalist society, which is groovy when it works right, and also looking at our freedoms and keeping our freedoms, I think, is where the focus needs to be, and I don't think that's where it's going. What we're looking at is no choice. We're not being told the truth. I think it's being rushed way too fast. I mean, they're trying to put this past people without them knowing what's going on. It's whatever 2,000 pages, I think, as far as what I've last heard. Back in August or so, that empty person, Nancy Pelosi, said that she guaranteed that she'd put it online, the final one for review. Now, there's been a health care bill that's been online all this time that you've been able to look at, but she said she was going to put the final one that they'd be voted on 72 hours before they get to vote on it. Well, she actually retracted that the other day. So we know the certain provisions that are in there now that are a real huge strangle on our freedom of choice, and I think also on our health and where we can take ourselves. But now they're going to be able to put some stuff right by us that no one will even know about, which is really frightening. So I'm hoping it doesn't go through. A couple things on that. Section 501 said there's going to be a 2.5% tax for people who choose the non-government route of healthcare. Okay, and this is for people making less than $250,000. So contrary to what it was always been said, hey, only the rich are going to get taxed. Everyone's going to get nailed on this thing. The thing that really got me was that they have written in there by the year 2013 it will actually be illegal to purchase your own private health insurance. So to me, this is scary. This is too much government control on our health. Not only are they in our pockets now, but that's going a little too far. So, in my mind, I think this whole thing is stomping on our freedom of choice as well as our free will. So I'm kind of alarmed on it. And as I said, at the risk I might be offending some of you out there who are in strong support of it, I do believe we need an overhaul because, it's not cool when people die due to not having health insurance, but we can't look at this as just a payer system, the finances. We have to look at this, how people are treated, and how can we can get healthier better. I mean, I actually think that organizations like the NBA who go out into the communities and get kids playing sports instead of playing on their little video games are doing much more than this government thing's doing, and it's going to be costing us like over $1 trillion. So pretty frightening. So anyhow, that's it for me for this week. You know where to find me. This is just for you members. Email VIP at 0 Point Potential. And the weather's beautiful, so get out there, have fun. I'll talk to you later.